Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today, we have kind of a unique one. Every winter, I have what I call my jacket knife. It resides in a pocket in my winter coat. I wear a Cool Burr, Kuhlburr, really nice winter jacket. It's not the warmest thing in the world, but I normally wear pretty heavy like shirts and stuff too, so I don't want anything super over the top. I do have really heavy duty parkas for when it gets really, really cold, but most of the time I just wear that Cool Burr. I'll put a link to it down below. It's a really cool jacket, no pun intended. Yeah, Kuhl. It's just a clever name. But anyway, I always have a knife that just resides in there all the time. I put it at the beginning of the winter, sits there all winter, comes out again in the spring. Last year, it was the ZT0562 tie, which we'll get to in a minute because it made the list again. These are kind of my final five. And I can't really decide which one to leave in there. Obviously, I can change them out and stuff if I want to, but it's usually kind of a leave it and forget sort of knife. And it's just great to know that I have a pretty good size heavy duty folder in that jacket, because then I can carry something smaller if I want to. I can carry something a bit more unique if I want to during the winter. So it's just kind of nice to have there. And if I leave the house, it's cold, I never forget a knife. Not that I ever would anyway. I'm pretty obsessive about that. But on the odd chance that I do, it's there. It's also a knife that gets handed to friends and stuff a lot, you know, when I'm out helping out with stuff. But yeah, so let's get going. I'm just going to go left to right. These are my final five choices, and I want you guys to vote down below which one of these five you think I should choose. You can make other suggestions, but I'm not going to go buy anything. Definitely not something I would buy to put in there. But let's just get going left to right. First up, it's a pretty obvious brand. Couple of Cold Steels. Pretty obvious. This is the 8010. This is about $180 now is what they mostly go for. I think they're actually supposed to be a bit more than that, but they seem to be on sale like everywhere right now. S35 VN, Andrew Demko design, superb ergonomics, just a great freaking knife. I really love the 8010. The only things going against it, it's got everything I want. It's a good beefy knife. That's kind of what I want, obviously, by the choices here, you know, to be in my pocket. But the only things going against it are a little heavy, 7 ounces. It's the second heaviest knife here. But also, I really like just carrying it sometimes. So if it's in that jacket, it's just in that jacket all the time. So that's kind of one thing against it. But it would be a great knife for that. And 7 ounces, it's not the end of the world. I usually have so much crap in my pockets, I'm probably not going to notice another 7 ounces, but still, there is that. Next up would be probably, honestly, the most obvious choice. This is the Cold Steel Recon 1. This is the Tanto. I love the Recon 1. Fairly lightweight. I think it's about 5 ounces, something like that. Good 4-inch blade. Tanto. Love me Tanto. Nice hollow grind. S35 VN again. Blacked out blade. It looks cool. It's light enough. This is probably the most obvious choice. It's G10. So was the 8010. It's nice to have non-metallic surfaces because sometimes it's cold, and if I'm not wearing gloves, taking out a really, really cold knife kind of sucks. Usually pretty obsessed about wearing gloves, but the times that I don't, it's not cool to have. It's not cool to have a really cold knife. That's some kind of, I don't know, analogy or something, pun or whatever. But yeah, very grippy, great ergonomics. The Recon one is just awesome, and it's pretty inexpensive. It's a $100 knife, so if, God forbid, it gets snaked out of my jacket, then, you know, who cares? But it's 2020. I don't have to worry about, like, hanging my jacket up at a bar and somebody stealing my knife out of it, because I ain't going to be hanging out at bars or restaurants or any place I'd be hanging up my coat for the foreseeable future. So that's a bit of less of a worry than it was last winter. And next up is the ZT0562 tie. Like I said, this is what I had in my pocket, in that pocket, all last winter. It just kind of got placed in there and forgotten. I think I put it on a couple of my most carried, because one of these, whatever I choose, is going to be on my most carried list a lot, because it's going to be basically every time I leave the house, it's going to be on me. It was great. It worked really, really well. I did use it a lot. I find myself using that jacket knife a whole lot. Enough that I did chip the blade and had to reprofile it, but it wasn't any fault of the knife. I was doing something stupid with it. But the downside to it was, as I said, it's full titanium. It gets cold. Even with really thin gloves on, I did have to use it for a lengthy amount of time. I actually was trying to help somebody cut, somebody ran over something in a Wegmans parking lot, and they had like all kind. It was like one of those straps from a packaging crate or something, and it was all wrapped up in her wheel and stuff. And it was I was trying to get under her car and cut that out for her, and I had really, really thin gloves on, and it was really cold. And eventually, and we were wearing gloves, like it doesn't equal out. It doesn't, the temperature doesn't equalize. Anyway, really, really long story to say that it's titanium. It gets cold. So there's that. But other than that, yeah, $280 is not inexpensive. But again, 2020, not really much worry of anybody stealing it out of my pocket. And yeah, it's just the titanium, I guess, would be the only downside to it. Weight's not too bad. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Yeah, we have a scale. We can find out as I drop it. Let's check the weight on this again really quick. I think it's 5 point something, if I remember correctly. Come on. Yeah, 5.4. So that's not too bad. Yeah. That's the other. This is the one that I did last year, and it worked fine, but it does get cold when it gets cold. Next up, the Spyderco Canis. Pretty new addition, but man, I love this thing. Nice Wharncliffe blade. Super, super, super slicey. That's definitely the sliciest knife here by a lot. The Recon one's pretty good, but this is still better. Yeah, and again, weight's pretty good. We'll check that again. It's fun to fidget with, too, which is something that I've never had my... The 5.62 tie is kind of fun to fidget with, but it would be... come on, I had to zero that again. It would be cool to have something like compression lock that's a little bit more fun to fidget with, maybe. Maybe my main knife I'm carrying isn't as fidgety and fun. So that's something, yeah, 4 ounces. And definitely the lightest one here. Yeah, it's pretty good for that. You know, it's just, I love to have something to fidget with. And it is a good blade. The only thing that is a downside to it is a lot of times if I'm using this knife, it might theoretically be a roadside situation, an emergency situation like that, and it's kind of a dainty blade for that. So that would probably be my downside for the Canis. But other than that, and if you think the Canis is ugly, I guess an upshot is that I won't have to look at it very much for the next several months. It'll be in a pocket. But no, I kind of, the way it looks is kind of grown on me, honestly. I love this knife. I've said I think it's the best thing Spyderco made this year. It is a great freaking knife. So that is another choice. And then lastly, Hinder Xm24. You know I was going to have a Hinder on here. I guess I technically have two. This is a Hinder design. But I love the Xm24. I carried a whole lot. I know a lot of people say it's too big to carry. I did convert this back to the phosphor bronze. Well, to the phosphor bronze washers. It comes on the bearings. It's a tri-way pit, if you don't know. You can run it on bearings, phosphor bronze washers, or Teflon washers. Choose your own adventure. It came on bearings. I ran it on bearings for a long time. I did wind up converting it to washers. Kind of thinking about this, that it would be maybe my jacket knife, maybe more of a hard use knife. Downside to carrying this, first, the weight. It is the heaviest here. It's 7.6 ounces. It is a tank. I don't mind having it in my pants pocket though, so I probably wouldn't mind having it in my jacket pocket either. Other thing is, it's $600. Do I want it? I know I said I'm not worried about something getting stolen out of my pocket if I leave my jacket somewhere, but do I want a $600 knife in that pocket? Other downside is I love this thing, and I carry it quite a bit. I don't think I want it just hanging out in my jacket. I think I'd rather have it in my pocket, because anything in my jacket's kind of a secondary knife at that point. So that's the downside of that. Other than that, man, it would be great. You know, I know that ZT, I think, did previously make a Hinder or design something that was, in this big 4-inch blade size. I wish they still did. Somebody will put down in the comments what it was. I don't remember. That was before my time. I'm not really familiar with the older Hinder ZTs, but yeah, if there was a less expensive version of this, which is probably maybe kind of the Recon one, it's not, but it kind of is. They don't share that much in common, completely different locks and all that, but size-wise, if you look at the lengths of them, they're not far off. So, yeah, maybe it's just the Recon one. Maybe I just answered it for myself, but you guys put in the comments down below what you think. Also, I kind of want to put this back on bearings. It's okay on the washers, but yeah, let's face it, the bearings are so much cooler. Put in the comments down below what you think. And again, feel free to make suggestions for stuff that is not here, but I'm not buying nothing for it because, again, it's a knife that becomes kind of a secondary, so it winds up carried a lot and used a fair bit, but also I don't get to look at it every day. It's just hanging on a hook down by the door on my jacket. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I look forward to your comments down below. Just something a little different. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.